Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. And for tonight headlines, we have the APRM delegation meets political actors in country. For the Ministry of Transport, electric railway celebrations of the first anniversaries of the new line Djibouti-Addis Ababa. For the international scene, UN offers support for food and health for Venezuela. Welcome to our newsroom. After a visit, the Minister of Justice, the APRM delegation was received by the Prime Minister Abdelkader Kamil Mohammed for a courtesy visit. The APRM is an instrument 100% African, intended exclusively for African countries to which states add voluntarily, which will accompany Djibouti in its transformations in the cardinals that are democracy and politics, the economy, corporate governance, and finally socio-economic development. The Prime Minister concluded by thanking the delegations of the APRM led by the Professor Fatima Kharadja, eminent personality of the APRM, for their assessment work in Djibouti. The APRM delegation started this morning at hours for targeted evaluations among the different ministries. Their first meeting began with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperations, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. This meeting took place in the premises of the diplomacy. The main objective of this meeting was to start the process of financial decentralization in Djibouti, a program of development of local authority that aims to promote political decision maker in favor of financial decentralization through the construction of an adequate normative and institutional environment. This will enable the establishment of community mechanisms and instruments for the construction and dissemination of the knowledge in order to strengthen the powers of local and regional authorities to act. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, has indicated in his speech financial decentralization is one of the levers necessary for local and regional authorities to be able to respond to current local, national, and global issues. During the next 2 days, these delegations of the APRM will meet the various political actors for better involvement of local authorities in the integration process. The APRM delegation was received by the Minister of Economy and Finance, Ilyas Moussa Dawale, for a target evaluations of the various ministerial departments. The objective of this meeting was to start financial decentralizations in the Republic of Djibouti. After the words of welcome, the Minister recalled the effort undertaken by the government of Djibouti to encourage decentralizations and the effective deconcentrations of state services to bring the administrations closer to the governed. He explained that the program of development of the territorial collectivities was put in place with an effective financial decentralization, and the Republic of Djibouti for each region is plans of development of the region discussions focus on strengthening local and regional authorities in public finance management. The mid-front actions plan to improve local public finances. Among the priorities are the mobilization of the resources of local authorities, capacity of building in human, financial, and material resources, improving the financial management of local authorities, and improving local financial governance. These priorities, the Minister underlined, will allow the territorial communities to have a political, economic, and financial autonomy, and generally will trigger any dangerous development in order to offer to the populations a better framework of life. Under the high patronage of the Minister of Equipment Transport, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa, a ceremony of the first anniversary of the commissioning of the railway lines was organized this morning at the Nagad train station. This ceremony has seen the presence of the Minister of Equipment Transport, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa, the Minister of Budget, Bodi Ahmed Rableh, the Minister of Economy, Ilyas Musa Dawaleh, and the General Managers of the Railway Company, CCECC, Mr. New Zhang Wang, the Deputy Directors of the Railway Ethiopia Djibouti, Mr. Hassan Mohammed Kamil, the General Directors of the Djiboutian Company of Railway, Mr. Mahmoud Roble Dabar, and several other civil and military leaders and parliamentarians. The project of the functionings of the modern electrified railway line between the two capitals is the first link between Djibouti and Ethiopia, which is for all Ethiopian export and import. This line reduces the cost on time to do businesses. It's also considerably development and improve competitiveness on the international market.
As one of the most important economic cooperation projects among Djibouti, Ethiopia, and China, the Djibouti RTD railway is highly concerned by the international community. The completion of the railway has greatly promoted the development of Djibouti and Ethiopia.
First of all, I would like to congratulate the government of the Republic of Djibouti and especially the Ministry of Equipment and Transport for organizing this colorful, the one-year anniversary of the operation of this very important regional interconnection projects of the Ethiopian Djibouti Railway.
The Deputy Directors of Railways Djibouti, Hassan Mohammed Kamil, has delivered a speech. He indicates that the railway can play again an important economic role by adopting an appropriate strategy and management linked to rehabilitate and efficiency objectives. For his part, the Minister of Equipment Transport, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa, has delivered a speech in which has indicated that it is a pleasure for him to take part in this symbolic ceremony organized at the occasions of the first anniversary of the date of missions in service of the new lines of Railway Djibouti Addis Ababa. The Minister has noted that the two political leaders, Ismail Umar Gelle and Dr. Abiy Ahmed, encourage the Chinese operators and the binational society to continue their effort for more economic performance to the public and train users. We have some interviews. Listen to this report, please.
Des opérations depuis
The International Organizations for Migration organized a workshop this morning to present a guide for practitioners, migration, and the 2013 agenda. This workshop was held at the Diplomatic Institute of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was chaired by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Hassan Umar Mohammed, and the head of the International Organizations for Migration Mission in Djibouti, Lalini Verasamy. The purpose of this guide is to help policymakers implement aspects of the SDGs that affect migration. Policymakers can use this guide to mainstream migrations into development activities at the local and national level through the development and implementations of the intervention that addresses migration in the context of the SDGs. This guide is intended for government actors, both national and local, who are involved in activity to implement the Sustainable Development Goals. Also present at this workshop, Pisong Shanjong, acting representative of the coordinators of the United Nations system and the representative of the various ministerial departments. The International Organizations for Migration Djibouti head of missions, Lalini Verasamy, and the acting representative of the United Nations Systems coordinator, Mr. Pisong Tangay, spoke in turns at the workshop to discuss the ins and outs of this guide. The Minister of Interior, Hassan Omar Mohammed, has welcomed the fact that our country was the first to have received and officially launched the Guides on Migration and Agenda 2030. The national airlines, Djibouti, Air Djibouti, and the national offices of tourism of Djibouti have just signed a partnership agreement in this enclosure, the agreement which was signed by Air Djibouti Chief Executive Abdurrahman Ali Abdullahi and his ONTD counterpart plans to launch a line Djibouti Tadjoura and Djibouti Oboh, founded in 1963. Air Djibouti is one of the oldest airlines on the African continent. It ceased its activity in 1990 after a 27 years adventure. It was in August 2015 that the company relaunched its activity. The northern regions of the country is full of tourism potential. It is in this context that these flights are launched, said the president of the regional councils of Tadjoura, Mr. Omar Hussein Marra. He said that in the file of tourism, Djibouti is one of the most broken destinations. As you know, in 2018, Djibouti has been elected among the top 10 countries to visit. Our President of the Republic, Ismail Margele, has been awarded the titles of the honoris causa members of the World Academy of Tourism. Today, the strengthened tourism, we are witnessing the signings of a partnership agreement to the Tourist Office and Air Djibouti, which is a national company to boost international and regional tourism. He concluded these words. The General Directors of the National Offices of Tourism, Osman Abdi Mohammed, spoke in these terms just after the signings of partnership agreement. In an interview he gave us, Air Djibouti's Director General Abdurrahman Ali Abdullahi answered our questions about the conditions for launching the activities of this new Djibouti Tadjoura and Djibouti Oboh line, which he says we are seeing recurrent requests for tourist operator asking for these lines to be completed. At the Sheko hospitals in Balbala, the Department of Visceral Surgery, led by Dr. Roble Hassan, recorded a clear increase in the number of surgical procedures thanks to the generalizations of the laparoscopy technique, and also called indeed the introductions of this advantageous technique of laparoscopy follows the effort made by the Ministry of Health in the modernizations of technical trays in order to provide quality specialized services to patients. Through medical progress, this technique is mainly distinguished by an interventionist via small incision through which the surgeons insert the special instrument and a mini camera to operate. Today, the laparoscopic technique is generalized for the most frequent surgical procedures such as vesiculars, lithias, and the use of these laparoscopic techniques allows the patient to feel less pain and cause only a small scars. Laparoscopy also reduces the complications and risks of most operative infections and shortens the length of hospital stay. Dr. Roble Hassan and his team have also strengthened the preparations of follow-up protocol effectively to ensure a pleasant stay and an environment conducive to the treatment of and healing of patients who are admitted to their wards. We have the obituary release. It is much sadness that we have learned today the death of occurred all the evening. Fathi Hamad Hassan in the late Fathi Hamad is he is born in Djibouti in January 1960, and after school studies and university has been entered in the countries in 1985 with a master in philosophy. He became teacher and has been transferred to the public services as director of INAP after he became head of the service at the functions. Before being appointed technical advisors, the late Fathi Hamad was known for his sympathy and his French talk. The late leaves behind him a family, 4 children. The deceased was the brothers of the Minister of Women, Mrs. Mumina Hamad Hassan, to whom we present our condolences. The staffs of RTD has, as the director, present their sincere condolences to the Hamad Hassan family at this painful moment and pray Allah to get it this eternal paradise. Very shocked by the disappearance, the prefect of Dakhil, Mr. Muhammad Sheikh Hassan, addresses his sincere condolence to all his great family. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Concerning the international scene, the United Nations proposed on Saturday its assistance to Venezuela on urgent issues such as food and health, hard hit by the worst economic crisis in this oil country. These are urgent issues in health, in nutrition, protection issue, and more, said Peter Goldman, UN coordinators in Venezuela during a meeting with President Nicolas Maduro's broadcast on public television. With the operations of the UN, we could find additional funds in addition to the World Food Program, which has shown interest in helping Venezuela. He also said this cooperation seeks to respond to the need of the Venezuelan population, which is suffering the rigors of a complicated situation, said Peter Goldman. Mr. Maduro replied, I asked for support for the whole food system because that was one of the problems we faced in 2016, 2017, and 2018. The socialist government, however, denies any humanitarian crisis and attributes the economic slumps to U.S. sanctions that prevent the importations of food and medicine. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.